Okay guys, so welcome to the first in a set of videos around graphing equations. I've decided today to start off by going a couple of steps back, or at least one step back. And so you'll notice that this is actually Walt 0.5 coordinate geometry. If you have a look in the files on this particular section on Teams, you will actually find in there a couple of sheets that you can practice this concept. Some of you may already know it, but it's always good to check, isn't it? So what is coordinate geometry? Well, basically, let's say that I put a mark here. So I need some way in which to communicate to someone else where that mark is. Now, this one's pretty easy because you go 2 across and, of course, 2 up. So you could put 2, 2. But what happens if we go along to say something like this? So how do we name this? Is it 2 across first? 2 across and then 3 up, or is it 3 up and 2 across? Well, of course, we need a convention for this because if people in Switzerland are doing it one way, people in Germany are doing it the other, then of course they can't actually communicate this information correctly to each other. So we came up with a couple of directions. So our side-to-side directions are x. So it goes from x here on our positive side, so plus x means we move this way, and of course negative x is the opposite direction, because we need direction as well, because if we're going this way or whether we're going to go that way. And of course, we up and down, we decided to find y, and of course this one is negative y. So negative, you're going down, positive values, you're going up. So how do we represent it? Well, we use this thing called a point. So if we go back, and I'll get rid of this one here, we go back and we're required to write this as a point, well, we're always going to go side to side first. And so in this particular case, we're going to go 2 across. So I'm going to put the 2 here. Now remember, this is an x, side to side value. And then once I've gone sideways 2, I'm going to go up 3 here. And so this would be our up and down, which we would make as our second point, or our second coordinate. And we would, of course, call it y. So if we wanted to, or we were given a point, let's say someone in New Zealand rang me up and said, look, Mr. Robinson, can you put this on your grid? Then at least I know that I need to go -2 first. So I'll always start from this point, and it says -2, so I'm going to be going this way across to -2. It then says I have to go +4, so plus being up, so I need to go 4 up. So -2 across, 4 up, and that's about where I put my point. Now, when we, of course, are graphing linear equations, we're going to get these particular points. Sometimes they might be like that. Sometimes we might actually see them in a table. So x is 1 and y is 4, for instance, or maybe x is -2 and y is -4. So when it's in this format, it's the same as this, but remember, x always goes first. So in this case, we could rewrite this as a point. So we would go, whoop, I've got to do it up here. So we would go 1 across, x being our across, and then we would go 4 up, y being our up and down. So if we look here, we would go 1 across, and then we would go 4 up, which would place me here. If we look at this one, then the x-coordinate tells us to go across 2 and then down 4. So we'll end up like that. Now, being able to go from this to this is pretty important because the next video, or one of the next in the series, is going to be us graphing equations from a table. And so we need to know how to get from this part of the table to this point and then to get it over there and where to put it on the actual graph. So that was just a really quick recap of coordinate geometry. Remember, always side to side first, negative that way, positive this way, and then up and down second. So x, comma, y. That's our point. Okay, so there's a few sheets that you can sit there that will ask you to put these points onto a set of axes like this. And if you need the practice, I suggest you give it a go. Anyway, I'll catch up with you in the next video. Bye, guys.